Maybe we can start.
Hi, Cora. Hi, Kusala.
Hello. We are about to start now. Let's begin with a simple guided meditation. You may mute your mics and prepare yourself, closing your eyes and taking a deep breath in and releasing. Notice your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. Scanning your body from crown of your head down to the toes, release and relax any tension, any tightness in your head. Letting go of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, physical sensations, and any thinking. Putting down the weight of the past and the future. Not taking anything personally. Release and relax any tension, any tightness on your face, your neck and your shoulders relax, telling yourself easy, easy on your body. Your spine a straight line, supporting your sitting bones for perfect posture. Gentle and kind with your body. Your knees relaxed, your chest to lower abdomen release and relaxed. Down to the shin area, to the soles of your feet. With full of your being, deeply rooted to the ground, and your attention back on the center of your being, breathing in and breathing out. With a little bit of mindfulness and kindness. Quietly and slowly, Mindfully you breathe in. Mindfully you breathe out. Let us radiate loving kindness from the base of your heart to the universe. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be calm. May people in this room be well. May people in this room be happy. May people in this room be calm. May beings everywhere be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful and calm. May the suffering ones be suffering free. Fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief. May all beings be at ease. you can come out of your meditation. So today's talk is about 4 ways of letting go based on the first sermon of the Buddha. And the Buddha actually did not name his first talk as the talk on letting go. It is called the Dhamma cakka Sutta. So Dhamma, if you have seen the wheel of Dhamma, it's like a little pendant that has 8 edges on it, and people wear it in Buddhist countries in Sri Lanka, like Buddhists in Sri Lanka, in Myanmar, in Thailand, and places like that. It's like they wear the cross here, and that is symbolizing the eightfold path. So that's why it has those 8 edges on it. And so Dhamma cakka is the Dhamma wheel. Pavattana is setting in motion. That for the first time in the world, the Buddha appeared in the world, and he is setting the wheel of Dhamma in motion. So it is called the Dhamma cakka Sutta. In this first sermon, which he gave at Isipatana is a forest park near Saranath. This is a city about 10 kilometers northeast of Varanasi, modern day India. He approached the 5 companions, his previous 5 companions who abandoned the ascetic Gautama, because the ascetic Gautama started eating food. That means he was choosing some luxury path according to these 5 companions. And the 5 companions were expecting the ascetic Gautama to realize the truth by taking self-mortification, giving suffering to the body. That has been a practice in India, that some people stand on one foot, thinking that at the time of the Buddha, thinking that this will lead to your awakening, or you sleep on some sort of nails, taking so much pain to the body, enduring that pain so that you become, maybe you realize the truth, or you stay not taking any food. You are practicing fasting until you collapse, and that they thought will lead to realization of truth. So because there was no other teaching, the ascetic Gautama listened to his 5 companions and said, okay, I will meditate, I will practice extreme self-mortification. So then he realized, no one in this earth has gone this far in this practice. And I must abandon this practice and maybe practice the middle path, which is a famous teaching in Buddhist teachings. And that is how he abandoned the 2 extremes. The first extreme is giving luxury to this body. That's because he was a prince, he lived a very happy life. And secondly, when he chose the ascetic life, he went to the extreme of that as well. And he realized neither of those were conducive to his awakening. And he then chose the middle path. He thought he should look out, he should be kind to this body, he should look after this body. And as he started doing that, his meditation became better, and he had the energy to reflect on profound experience that he was experiencing in his own sensory experience. And he found the answer that he has been looking for, eventually became awakened by realizing the truth. And he observed the world to see if there is anyone in the world who is able to understand this kind of teaching. And then he realized his previous teachers who taught him to get this far, they have passed away. And then he thought he should approach the 5 companions who were there with him in the past 5 years or so, helping him in many ways, supporting his self-mortification practice, thinking that it would lead to the realization of truth. So he went to the 5 companions, and they were suspicious of ascetic Gautama. Gautama is the name of the Buddha. Approaching these 5, they thought, we are not going to welcome you again to our place. But as they saw the ascetic Gautama, now the Buddha, the awakened one, approaching, they felt something about his presence, something unique about the way he, present himself. And maybe what they saw was the halo around him, like in Jesus, they have the halo. He has the halo, and they couldn't stay doing nothing. They prepared a seat and welcomed him, and then he gave this teaching, which is now famous as the first sermon of the Buddha. And he says, monks, these 2 extremes should not be followed. What 2? The pursuit of sensual happiness in sensual pleasures. This is talking to monks, which is, so seeking sensual pleasures is low, vulgar, the way of worldlings, ignoble, unbeneficial. And the pursuit of self-mortification, which is painful, ignoble, unbeneficial. Only 3 words for that. For the first one, he gave vulgar, the way of worldlings, ignoble, unbeneficial. And for this, for the self-mortification, he says painful, ignoble, and unbeneficial. He says this having done both. Without veering towards either of these extremes, the Buddha has awakened to the middle way, which gives rise to vision, which gives rise to knowledge, which leads to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to Nibbana. Nibbana is the final awakening. And what is the middle way? He says, the Noble Eightfold Path, that is, right view, right intention, right speech. Notice the word right here. Right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. I would translate it as stillness. And then he gives a talk on his next part of the talk on the 4 noble truths. Now, monks, this is the noble truth of suffering. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, illness is suffering, death is suffering, union with what is displeasing is suffering. That means having to live with people who you don't like some roommates. Separation from what is pleasing is suffering, like having to leave your loved ones. Not to get what one wants is suffering. You want to have something, but you don't get it, and there you have suffering. And in brief, the 5 aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. If you're wondering what 5 aggregates are, form, feelings, perception, formation, and consciousness, these 5 aggregates. I'll try to not explain them right now. And then the second truth, he says, is the noble truth of origin of suffering. It is this craving which leads to re-becoming, accompanied by delight and lust, seeking delight here and there. That is, craving for sensual pleasures, craving for becoming, craving for disbecoming. Now, this is the third truth, the cessation of suffering. It is the remainderless fading away and cessation of that same craving. And here we find the 4 ways of letting go. Cessation of that same craving, giving up, relinquishing of it, being free from it, freedom from it, non-reliance on what you gave up, non-reliance on craving. So it's not like what you imagine of letting go, it's about craving. The Pali terms are mutti, analeo, chago, patinisago. Mutti is this freedom. Analeo is non-attachment. Chago is giving up. Sort of giving up without expectations, but giving up of this very activity of craving inside of you. Not giving up on something that you crave, because when you give up on that, something else comes up, and that never stops. So when you give up craving internally, then there is freedom. And then the last truth, the way leading to the cessation of suffering. It is this noble eightfold path that we read before. So long, monks, as my knowledge and vision of these 4 noble truths as they really are, in their 3 phases and 12 aspects, was not thoroughly purified in this way, I did not claim to have awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment in this world, where there are deities, Maras, Brahmas in this generation with its recluses and Brahmins, its devas and humans. So that's the statement he made. So what are the 3 phases and 12 aspects? If you're wondering what those are, it's very easy. When you take the 4 truths, those are 4, and then with each you have just the knowledge of the truth and what you should do with it, and the knowledge that you have done it. So 4 into 3 is, where's your math? 12, very easy. So 4, just the truth, and then what you should do. Let's say the last one, which is about the path leading to the cessation of suffering. That is a practice. What you should do is just to know that there is the path. This is the eightfold path. If you know some basics of Buddhism, and what you should do is practice it, and then having the knowledge that you have practiced that. That way, you have come to completion of your path, of your practice. And this we are talking about really like deep level of your awakening experience. If you practice, say, the last 2, which is right mindfulness and right concentration. That means there are wrong mindfulnesses and wrong concentration. People take different objects to practice mindfulness with, but if you take right mindfulness, it should lead toward freedom. It should lead toward cessation and letting go. So let's go back to this simple way of understanding the 4 ways of letting go. In general talk, let me take this glass of water, and if I want to still this, what would be the way to do it? Holding on, like keeping it for 2 hours, do you think I will be able to still this? So the best thing to do is to put it down. The moment you put it down, you see some shaking there. That's like when you let go of something in your heart, when you put something down from your heart. It's difficult, it's painful. But if you have the courage and the energy in your heart to put it down, from that moment, you now see it still. You didn't have to hold it for 2 hours to make it still. And there is this story about 2 monks. One is the teacher, the other one is a student. And they were crossing a river, and they came to this place where they had to cross the river, and the river was little flooded, and there was this woman who was afraid of crossing the river, and the teacher wanted to help this woman, but monks are not supposed to touch women, and the teacher put her on the back, crossed the river, and then said goodbye and went on. And the student became so silent, so angry that the teacher touched a woman. And the teacher, when they went to the monastery, asked, "What's the matter?" And the student said, "Well, you are not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to touch women." And the teacher said, "I put her there on the other side of the river. It seems like you are still carrying her." So that's another way to look at letting go. Whether it's a thought, anything that you carry, the more it's like something burning in your hand. More you keep it, more it burns, and it gives you suffering. Craving is like that, this burning, poisonous thing. Imagine having poison in your system that you feel very uncomfortable. You want to get rid of it, and it's harmful to you. And getting rid of it needs some intervention, someone's help. So the Buddha is helping us that way. So another way to let go is, you are taking a walk and someone is bothering you in your mind, and you write their name on a stick, and you can just throw it as far away as possible. Just, I'm getting rid of my husband. My wife, throw it away. My son. So free. There is this activity that you create. That's also one way to look at something that is bothering you for a long time. A problem that you don't want to look into right away, but you want to have some peace in your mind. And monks like Ajahn Braham, this English monk who lives in Australia, says, you write your problems in toilet paper and flush it down the toilet. That's another way to let go. But if you really look into what the Buddha said, here. It is this craving which leads to re-becoming. So re-becoming is a teaching in Buddhist Buddha's language that we are not done when you die in this birth. Based on your karmic consequences, you are born in some place. And if you are born a human being, you have human suffering. If you are born an animal, then you have animal suffering. If you are born as a heavenly being, you have heavenly being suffering. There's no choice. Based on how you have lived, how much loving kindness you have cultivated, how much samadhi, stillness you have developed, determines where you are headed. It's like a driverless bus. It's going to stop whenever it stops. I mean, that sometimes we don't have so much control when you are headed that way. But right now we do. And therefore, Buddha encourages us to cultivate wholesome qualities to overcome suffering. So what is actually suffering? The Pali term is dukkha, and the opposite of dukkha is sukha, happiness. And this is a very key point here. Something that is difficult to bear is dukkha. Something that is easy to bear is sukha, happiness. Easy, right? And here we say, in this sutra, in this teaching, the Buddha says, aging is suffering, illness is suffering. And if you look at them, like death is suffering. Living with those people you don't like to live with is suffering. Having to say goodbye to people you love is suffering. And not getting what you want is suffering. You can sense that uneasiness, something that is not easy to bear in your mind, create this suffering. What happens again is that here's the reality and here's our expectation, always not matching, always in two different places. And our expectations get bigger and bigger and bigger. The gap between reality and expectation is too wide now. And what we really need to do is to follow this eightfold path, especially tools like right mindfulness, to using that as a key to enter the reality, to accept the reality. And that acceptance is really big on letting go. Accepting the reality as is, as it becomes. We all need that as a reminder that we don't see the reality. We ignore, in worldly life, we ignore all the red flags, as they say. And then we get in trouble. And who do we complain? We complain to our parents, we complain to our friends, but you yourself created that trap in you. All because of not seeing the reality as is. Taking what is impermanent as permanent. Taking that is not yours as yours. That means taking what is not self as yourself. Taking things personally. Making them yours. If there is any pain, you take it as my pain. So I should have control of this. Did we have any control of aging? No. We were born and we continue to age. And therefore, people want to stop it. They try to develop different machines or techniques to stop this process, but we are so limited with our ability to stop aging. And then what we can do is to really broaden our understanding and see, oh, true, what the truth that there is this reality, that there is this truth of things that are difficult to bear, things that are continuously in the transient nature of changing. And even if you take just one thought moment to another, you hear something, you see something, you smell something, in all these moments, your experience has changed so many times, but we don't even notice it. Right there, we see there is no such a thing called permanent self. It's easier to understand that there is a self than trying to understand that there is no self. That's the truth. But if you can just slow down and focus on your own experience right now, you close your eyes and seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, physical sensations, and thinking, all of that fade away, and your brain doesn't have to send any signals to your seeing, to any of the organs. And it starts to give you the picture of this reality. What is, what actually there is. It's even these thought moments, they come and go. When thoughts disappear, maybe you have what they call a blackout-like experience. Not really, but a pleasant one. Freedom. We try to jump from one pleasurable activity to another pleasurable activity. That's how we try to escape any suffering. But if you actually not habitually do that and pause and let go of what you already know, and emptying your experience and be here and now, noticing that what you have is only this moment, and see how this moment is created. You let go of the past, you let go of the future, you stay here, right now, and observe how transient this experience is. And you start questioning, like, did I call this experience as me? Is this actually me? Or do you have to call it me? And if you can start talking without I, me language, it's easier for you to maybe explain, like it language, it doing it thinking. Maybe that way you are able to explain and understand what non-self nature really is. Try doing that maybe as your homework. So Buddha's 4 ways of letting go is about craving, any subtle underlying craving in you. You see it from your own wisdom, and you see that wisdom is helping you to giving up, relinquishing of it, freedom from it, and non-reliance on it. So when you start seeing how relieved you feel just by reading these words, right? Giving up, relinquishing of craving, freedom, non-reliance, you reflect and contemplate and meditate on these words, and you see, oh, their craving arose. Craving for what you like, and also craving to control what you dislike, that I don't like this. That too is craving. And we often look for pleasant feelings, pleasant feelings, pleasant feelings. And in doing that, what we have done is rejecting, letting, not welcoming any unpleasant feeling. And as a result, anxiety, depression, crying, these things develop in a person's mind. And you go get medications for controlling your brain chemicals. The actual work has to be done in your mind's home, in your own mind. Of course, getting medications is very helpful depending on your situation, and talking to a therapist is helpful. But also practicing true letting go of this very craving, and come into the middle path. When someone is very distraught and they want counseling, they are distressed, they are very sad, and they come to us and say, I need counseling. But the first question I ask is, are you willing to come to the middle path? If they are not coming to the middle path, they cannot be helped. They are not in a place where they can receive any help. So that way, this teaching that the Buddha gave, although we only talked about the very surface level of it, we didn't talk about how there are these different subtle layers, how dependent origination comes in this kind of a teaching. We can have a talk on dependent origination on another day. Maybe we can go back to this teaching and explore how dependent origination and Four Noble Truths and all these teachings are interconnected. But these are just big words for beginners, and I think we don't try to teach too much in a talk like this, because we are not actually teaching you to take any exams or anything, just basics of this kind of teaching. And upon hearing this first sermon of the Buddha, one of the 5 companions of him understood the teaching, and he became known as the one who knew. And he's the first one to understand it. And then the other 4 followed him upon giving more instructions. And what they needed to hear in the second teaching was about non-self teachings, Anatta Lakkana Sutta. We can discuss that another time about the non-self. But and this the Buddha continued on teaching, and we have the Buddhist canon to explore maybe on our Monday talks. We don't have to learn all of that today. Do you have any questions about anything I explained? We have about maybe 13 minutes for questions. Those who are joining on Zoom can unmute and ask your question. Yes.
So if someone finds themselves in a place where they're very distraught, do you have any recommendations for how they can get through?
If they are in a place where they feel distraught, how do they come to the middle path? That's the question. I think we don't recommend meditation to that person, because first we need to work on what is causing them that distraught experience. If they are continuously exposed to that environment, it's that should be taken. It's like someone is hungry and I'm teaching something to them and nothing goes into their mind. It's like someone who is having addiction and they are not working on that, and we are trying to get anything done from them, and it's not going to work that way. It's not their fault. It's just what their present situation is. So we actually need to fix that. We need to identify that. It's like there is an illness and there's a cure, and there is a way to apply this cure, and there's also the cause of illness. We first need to find the cause of illness, and especially underlying this distraught nature, somewhere there we find some element of craving that created this distraughtness in them. And having found the root, we need to, if it is some sort of exposed therapy or some cognitive behavioral therapy or some environment change or some techniques to help them, overcome this distraught nature. Maybe they are dealing with the loss of a loved one, and being with them and never judging them for their tears. And we don't go and say it's your karma that you are going through this. That's very rude to say. We try to be compassionate with them, and that way they start to slowly open up, and we build trust, and we talk about it, and then slowly we say we can now observe what is actually happening in your experience and bring mindfulness to this. But then we teach right mindfulness. Wrong mindfulness is focusing on distraught, focusing on anxiety. But you feed growth. So we don't need to feed it more. We just need to observe what is there when any pain is there. It's not yours. Let it live as long as it wants to live, and let it go when it's ready to go. When circumstances are ready, it will disappear. We give that kind of knowledge to them. And then slowly we offer a guided meditation on practicing right mindfulness, where we focus on peace, tranquility, mindfulness of breathing, loving kindness, wholesome qualities. That's right mindfulness. And then they are slowly back in track. You're welcome. Any more questions?
Can you give an example of an I, me thought and then converting it to an it?
Yeah. So, okay, I, me thought to converting it to an it thought. So, I am speaking to, it is speaking.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay.
Very simple.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be me at all. It's just it, this whole whatever it is.
It kind of reminds me of what Deepak Chopra talks about in Metahuman.
I think I've heard of it. I'm not sure if I read any part of it. Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes when you are really trying to find an answer to something and it doesn't come to you, but then you take a walk and somehow your mind thinks about it without you getting involved. And then the answer comes. It's like going in an air balloon, and if you want to go further, you have to empty what you already carry with you. Yeah. And then finally letting you jumping off of it, but in a safe way. Yep.
I had a question about the text. So the part you're reading birth is suffering, old age is suffering, sickness is suffering, etc. And then it ends, in other words, to grasp the five aggregates as though they constitute the self is suffering.
Yeah.
And so my question is, I was wondering if you could say a little bit about how those two things are the same thing.
What two things? The birth is suffering.
Well, the list of everything being suffering, and then in other words, to grasp the five aggregates.
Oh. Well, the form aggregate, for example, is your experience. What you see is visual form. What you hear is, there's a word for that, forms again. And then what you smell is forms. And this is an aggregate that is constantly, this whole aggregate, this whole collection is continuously there, associated with perception aggregates. You perceive this meditation bell as, you labeled it at some point as a meditation bell, and now it has a name. And it's there stored in your memory. And that whole aggregate from birth to now, also from previous births to now, is working in us. And feelings aggregates, pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, neither painful nor pleasant feelings. This is also a huge aggregate. This is also working in us. And what you experienced in formations like your thoughts, breathing as a bodily formation, these are also formations that also what you perceive in your mind, all of these are continuously working, giving you an experience, consciousness aggregate. For example, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness. We constantly become conscious on something, and that is creating your experience. And that's kind of summarized, the Buddha summarizing there and saying that whole experience that is that's happening right now creates suffering. How? Because you can't stop it. You can't say that's my permanent self there. If you had any view that it is your permanent self that is happening, it's the time to abandon it. If you said your eye is the physical eye is the permanent self, when you die, your self has to die. That way, that view dies. But right here in the experience of seeing itself, hundreds and thousands times, the experience arises and passes away. And these are separate events that we don't even see. It's like a flickering of a light bulb. And how can we call it me arising and passing away? And therefore, you see, because it's so transient in nature, you cannot label it as me. And with birth is suffering, it's just talking about the whole existence of samsaric experience in any plane of existence, which the Buddha let go. He did not want to live in any existence, whether it's a heavenly realm or a human realm or an animal realm, no matter how comfortable the place is, he let go. He thought whatever the suffering that is left can create enormous amount of suffering, and he let go of it. And therefore, he started from birth and ended with this very experience, which is the five aggregates happening right now. Hopefully that explains it. You got 2 more minutes. Yeah.
Does the Buddha believe that we choose to be born and we choose, who our family is?
Well,
Choice in that.
Yeah, the question is, does the Buddha believe that who we choose to be born with, what our family is? Yes. The word belief is not so common in Buddhism, more about realizing and practicing and knowing it for yourself. Again, the Buddha says, same people with your nature, somehow your parents and all these people are continuously being born, and you meet them again and again until you are freed from this cycle.
Cycle of,
Birth and death.
okay. Do we want to be free from that?
That's why he gave the first sermon, to be free from this cycle, because
Okay.
do you want to go to school again and
Once is enough.
once is enough. So,
Thank you.
yeah, it's like that. All right, so maybe that's time to call it a talk. Thank you for coming and have a great rest of the evening. And see you next month in our monthly Dhamma talk. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bhante.
好，我帮有那我